let's start with introducing myself. My name is Fredrik Ahlgren, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of a project called Sourceful Energy. We've been around since 2022, and I'll give you a very, very brief backstory of who we are and how we started, because backstories are always good. I myself am a marine engineer from the start. I actually sailed almost 10 years in the Navy at submarines. Doesn't sound very crypto background-ish, and that's true. I do actually come from a very traditional engineering sector, and as a marine engineer, you like to get your hands dirty. That's really the core thesis of doing stuff. You're on your own and you need to fix stuff when they break. So that's the backstory. 2022, me and a couple of other guys, because that's the bad thing about this industry, it's usually us guys. We got together and we thought, could we make something that rewards people that have solar PV? And we didn't want to make it as an RWA. We didn't want to make it as like just give out tokens because you have tokens. We really wanted to solve something. 2022, and also in Sweden, things were starting to happening at the grid. People have been installing solar for quite some time in the Nordics. Germany has been a boom and still is. But even in Scandinavia, even if it's up in the north, the thing is that we started seeing that there were some new markets that were opening up. And these are the flexibility markets. So this is a backstory that very, very few people are aware of. But these markets have not existed for more than a couple of years. There are totally new markets. That is trading with flexibility in the energy sector, not kilowatt hours. So these markets started to open up, and we saw that, okay, we have something here. We should link this to this problem. The grid needs more flexibility. At 2022, we had no idea what we were doing. Absolutely no idea. I was working at the university as a lecturer then, and we had this as a side project for actually 2 years. We just started building, and we did it free time, spare nights, evenings, and all that. The team grew a little bit as we started building. 2024, that's actually more or less a year ago, we got our first pre-seed. Bam, I could set a full team on this mission. We've raised yet another round since then, so actually 2 funding raises. And it's not the topic of my speak about fundraising, but what is interesting is that we have a mix of crypto investors and traditional energy investors that don't even know what the token is behind us. I think that's the best story you can tell if you talk about at least product market fit within the investing scape. Doesn't mean that you're that much. Investors generally don't know too much, but let's just stop it there because there might be somewhere. So the base problem. The thing here is that renewables are really going to fix the energy system. That's just going to happen. There will be yet another slide, which actually I did procure just this morning after this one, but we have so much energy abundance already in front of us. We speak about small things that actually doesn't matter in the big scale of the universe and the world. And that's the cool thing. We have a sun. Energy is already abundant. And we speak about the small things and oil and gas. We already have the best power source ever. And those of you that are Tesla fans, Elon Musk fans, you already know this, that often he speaks about we'll be able to fix everything with just solar. The problem with solar and renewables is, obvious, because when there is no sun, there is no power. And the electric wires we have in our grid, they don't store power, they only transfer power. And it's a zero-sum game. Every millisecond, there is never any excess energy in the grid. Everything that is produced is consumed at the exact right moment. That's just how things work. It's a balance game. Generally, people don't think in those terms because things are just taken care of. The normal consumer pays for kilowatt hours, which is somehow a useless way of thinking of this problem, because the only thing that actually matters is power when you need it. But that's just how the system works. Renewables are changing things, and this is the good thing, because this creates, I would say, the evolution of what needs to happen. Just in southern Sweden, we had 400 hours of negative pricing last year. If you speak about this for people that don't have spot price contracts and are living in countries when they don't, it's sort of unbelievable. But yes, you can get paid. You get money if you use energy. It sounds a little bit strange, but that is a fact. Might not be that you earn that much, and it also might be that there are other distribution costs which is sort of exceeding that. But the base fact here is that there are power plants that actually need to operate at negative pricing. Because if there is no power, well, the grid goes dark and then we all get a little bit sad. So this is a problem that we have today. The problem comes from too much renewables. So solar PV, noontime in, would say, the Northern Europe at this moment, it's just too much sun. So we need to fix this. Yeah, we could, one, store the energy. We do have batteries. The battery technology is evolving. We could also start coordinating. Let's say that we might not need all this power at this moment. There is nothing bad of curtailing. And the word curtail just means that you sort of ask the inverter, which is the device that actually transforms DC to AC, to not make as much power because no one actually needs it at this moment. That's actually a good thing, because you will be able to utilize the solar and in a better way. And when speaking about market economics, so I actually used already almost 10 minutes of my time. The thing here is that we have an electricity grid, and this is the cool backstory. The grid is more than 100 years old in most cases, in the Western world, which is kind of an old beast. It's very well regulated. It looks extremely different in just in the US. We have 13 different grids, and some of them are even not connected to other grids. Texas, for instance, is just an island in the US in terms of the grid. Europe is at least connected, but the thing here is that it is not built for what is to come. That's just the true story. It has been built for centralized power production. That means you have a power plant. Watch The Simpsons. You have a nuclear power plant, and you have consumers that in the morning go up, boil coffee, take a shower, etc. Predictable behaviors, and power plants that know this and can plan ahead. This all changes when we start to distribute power in the edges of the system. And that is solar PV and rooftop. This is a simplified version of the solar PV boom that is happening right before our eyes at the moment. So even if you don't think that solar is a big thing, where you live, in the world it is. It's rising exponentially fast. And this is just market dynamics. So the thing here is that we steadily sort of underestimate things that go fast. This is the same story about a lot of technologies. But solar PV is here to stay, and it is just a fact. The big numbers here is that the majority of this is not ending up in large solar farms. They are that as well, but they are ending up at homeowners' rooftops because it's just dirt cheap. It's that simple. People want to become energy independent, and it makes sense. They will install it. And that transforms the whole grid. So instead of having centralized power plants that distributes power, we now see more and more power that is sort of generated in the end nodes of the grid. The wires that we have built, the transformer stations, they cannot handle this. So say something else, but that's my take on it. I'm going to skip. We build this as a consumer application. It's just 10 seconds left. So you can see here, we want to make this extremely simple for a user. Actually a gap in the system at the moment that everything is so technically advanced, need an installer. Just looking at this from an ROE perspective without the token, it makes total sense. And that's also why I believe a DeepIn should have a valid business model and not just focus on a token. So I'll stop with that slide. I'm actually a few seconds over now. It's good, okay? Yeah. So if you want to push me off stage, I'm like, fine with that. Do we have time for questions or?
No, we will continue.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening.